Welcome to the Fire Away Podcast. That is the Fire Away Podcast. Oh yeah, here we go. Let's do it.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Fire Away Podcast. I am your host, Mark Meyer. As always, I'm here with Mr. Fred Anders, Matt Williams. How's it going, guys?
Hey.
Good, buddy. How are you?
Good. Hey, check us out on Instagram, Fire_Away Podcast on Instagram. Catch up all the episodes anywhere you get your podcasts. We're on all major platforms. And today's special guest, Mr. Tyler Trumbauer from Kistler O'Brien and the KOB Podcast. How you doing, Tyler?
I'm doing great, gentlemen. How are we doing?
Good, man. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for making the drive down this morning.
Absolutely. Beautiful day in Baltimore.
From where did he come from, Matt?
All right, here we go. I've always called it Bethlehem.
Yeah, there's
Bethlehem.
an H in there.
There's a lot of people that remove that syllable,
Thank
even
you.
from Bethlehem.
Thank
They
you.
do
Thank you.
say Bethlehem. So
They're all wrong.
So I'm not wrong.
All right, so you're down here from Bethlehem. Kistler
Yeah.
O'Brien, man. Welcome.
Thank you.
Born and raised in that area?
Yeah, born and raised in the Lehigh Valley, a little bit more north than Bethlehem, but we've been in that area my whole life. Went away a little bit to Western PA for college, ultimately transferred back to Kutztown University just outside the Lehigh Valley, graduated from there, and been in the Valley ever since. So family in the area too, so it's kind of been home base.
I've checked out a couple of your podcasts, and you definitely have this baseball announcer voice going. Like, I could definitely listen to you do color commentary on a baseball game, man. Like, you can tell you're comfortable.
Yeah, I
here.
appreciate that. I've actually been doing that for a while. Been doing some broadcasting, color commentary, play-by-play since really my freshman year of college.
I just nailed it, man.
Yeah.
Like, I'm telling you, I just nailed it.
that's
You
good.
mentioned, I mentioned going out west. I actually started at Edinburgh University, which is out near Erie. They call it the Snow Belt of Pennsylvania. And my second week of college, I was on a bus with the football team to Tennessee to go call the game down there.
Jeez.
They played Carson Newman College in Jefferson City, Tennessee. So skipping class already the second week of college. So I was a great leader by example there. But yeah, no, been doing it both for the colleges themselves, obviously on student radio and television. Really got the bug in high school. They started a TV studio when I was there. They asked me to be one of the first kind of on-air people. Okay. And then transitioned to college and brought that with. And then since then, I've been doing it on ESPN Plus for NCAA Division 1, 2, 3 folks. So yeah, always have been looked at the person that should be talking. But I've done baseball. I've done rugby, bowling.
That's exciting.
Trying to think of some other sports that I've done. Acrobatics and tumbling.
Well, you're from the Lehigh Valley. Have you ever done the velodrome?
I actually worked at the velodrome.
Did you?
Full time. Before two employers before I came to Kistler O'Brien and entered the fire protection industry. Okay. I actually was the communications manager for the velodrome. Okay. Lived very close by there.
I used to go there all the time.
Yeah, great place. I mean, so I actually did a lot of our PA announcing there and stuff
So
like
what
that.
is it, fellas?
You know what a velodrome
Yeah, so the
is?
velodrome. So a velodrome.
You, Mark?
No.
Oh, thank you very much.
velodrome is a professional track cycling facility. Banked turns, 33 degrees are the bankings. The bikes are specific track bikes. It's not one you're getting at Walmart. There are no brakes on these bikes.
And there's
either.
no freewheel.
Yes.
And they wear the unis, right?
They are the ones they wear kits. They're
Uni
called
cards. What are they called?
kits.
Okay.
So just so you know.
Dude, I'm telling
I
you, like
didn't know.
people usually hear like, oh, cycling and stuff like that. These guys, there's contact going around that track.
Isn't
it
It's
in the
fun to
Olympics?
watch.
Yes.
It is.
Can you like roller skate on that too? Do like skater derby stuff too, or no?
No. So actually, the Olympic.
After dark.
I mean, Olympic roller skating or speed skating, whatever you want to call it, is done on an oval like that, but it's more flat, I believe. I don't think it
velodrome
has
is
the
really
banking.
banked.
Like, you have to have the banking to be able to do track cycling. So to your point, yes, the velodrome in Lehigh Valley, it used to be called Lehigh County Velodrome, now called the Valley Preferred Cycling Center, Truxlertown Velodrome. It's changed names over the years. Has been around, I think, 50 years now. In Truxlertown, Briningsville area of Pennsylvania. And when I worked there, we had Olympians or international athletes from anywhere from half a dozen to a dozen countries every summer coming to prep. They spend the entire summer in Pennsylvania to come race and train and prep against other international athletes to go prepare for the next Olympic Games.
And Mark or Matt, what were you doing there? Watching?
Watching. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Huh?
Yeah, we
I, mean,
sell.
I know you used to cycle. I mean, you said back in the day you was a cycler,
Yeah,
but what
I
that
never
kind of
did
cycling?
velodrome. No,
Okay.
but I'm telling you, it's fun and you can stand right at the wall and watch these guys. It's crazy. So the big name when I was going up there was Marty Nostine.
So Marty Nostine was the executive director when I worked there. So
Okay.
he was my boss at the time. But
go.
yeah, he was a 2-time Olympic medalist, won silver in '96, gold in 2000. Probably was one of the most successful American track cyclists of.
And he
of
also
his
raced
generation.
cars.
Yes, then he went on to race cars. I think when you have that competitive spirit, it's hard to give it up, right? But your window of opportunity to be a track cyclist is pretty small.
Yes.
And usually because your peak is the Olympic Games. That's only once every 4 years. So, like, I think he competed in 2004 as well, but did not medal. So, I mean, you really only had 3 games, right? Yeah. But, I mean, that's also, 12 years of your life, but you only get 3 games. There's Pan American Games. There's other international
qualifiers,
World Cups and things like that you can compete in. But what do us as casual fans or the people that are standing on the wall drinking a beer watch? It's usually just around the Olympics.
That's awesome, though, man. That's well, going back to what we were saying, it comes out. It shows that you've done this for a long time. Just he can flow, right? He's smooth, right? That's the word I was looking for.
Smooth.
Yeah, so I got a gymnastics event Friday night. I'm going to need you to come for me.
Yeah, listen, acrobatics and tumbling, I've done it. For me, it's really just about being able to give the viewer, especially at the collegiate or high school level, and I've done all those, is there's 2 things. They want to be able to get better understanding of what's going on the field, especially if they're watching it. They might not know what the crowd's like, the weather's like, what's going on outside the field of view of the camera. But also, they just love hearing the players' names. Like at college, if you can work in their name, their hometown, and their high school, grandma back home 3 hours is gonna be like that was the best broadcaster I've ever heard.
That's my favorite. I mean, my favorite way to experience the ball game, other than live's nice, right? But a good commentary
Oh, the radio?
on the radio, just the sound of the voice, the great description of what's going on, the sound of the game, and you guys make it come to life, and a good one who can make it come to life. I'd listen to it on radio and watch it on TV all day, every day.
We are spoiled here in Baltimore. We've had some legendary broadcasters, and I'll tell you, it makes a huge difference to what you said. I was driving back from Indiana, listening to football games on whatever football game I could get as I was driving through.
Westwood won.
Yeah, and some of these announcers were terrible, and I'm like, I can't even listen to this anymore. And so it does make a ton of difference. So is this something, I know you kind of probably do it as a hobby. I don't know if you get paid for it. Any interest? Like if you got that offer?
Listen, I mean, I appreciate you backing me in the corner on the company podcast.
Hey, we can cut that.
About if I would leave for an opportunity. I think if ESPN or some, I was going to hit me with another Westwood One, wanted to call me up and say, hey, we have an opportunity, I think it'd be hard to pass it up. But I found this great journey that I've been on where I went to college originally majoring in journalism, wanting to do that. And then fell into kind of marketing and corporate communications. And at around that time is when marketing was changing to being the traditional, let's buy billboards and newspaper ads and big budgets, to being like, we need to tell stories and we need to do organic marketing and create content, right? That's why you have a podcast. Almost everybody has a podcast these days. So a lot of my skill sets as far as writing and podcasting and video editing and all of that was now in demand in the marketing space. So I've been able to find a blend where I can do that in a full-time job, satiate a lot of that skill set and the desire that comes with that, but also be able to do some of the stuff we talked about at the collegiate level or otherwise as kind of a side job. Not really a hobby, but, not getting rich off of that either, right? So it's something that at a freelance opportunity, it's great to be able to do that.
Scratching that itch.
Yeah, scratch the itch, but then also still be able to pursue other passions full-time, like, telling the great story of Kistler O'Brien, of Fireline, of Encore Fire Protection, because it's interwoven together now because of the way marketing has changed over the last 10 years.
So kind of take us into that then. We talk about, entering in the world of Kistler O'Brien and how that kind of plays into what your background and what you're went to college for. How does all that work out? How does one who's doing what you do find his way into fire protection and into marketing?
Sure. I guess I have a career of finding weird industries to be in, right? We talked about the velodrome. Many people don't know it, but I was there for years, right? So track cycling and now fire protection. So, I joined Kistler O'Brien in early 2020, May of 2020. I like to tell people we were in the red phase of the pandemic. We were still wiping down our groceries is when I started working there. And it was a unique time to start because of the fact that we were going through this transition. Remote work wasn't even in KOB's vocabulary, and now everyone is working remote and things like that. For me, I was, I think, the right person at the right time because the company had been around 80-some years at that point, hadn't really had a marketing department. They were putting their logo on a pen and saying, we're marketing. And that worked. They grew as, similar trajectory as Fireline over the decades. But they wanted to bring in someone that could do more digital, could do more video, stuff like that. And I could do that. And I think I was that right person at the right time. Got an opportunity then in October of 2021 to take over as the manager of the marketing department. We've grown it since then. We've grown our abilities. We've grown our impression on the company as far as what we do internally and externally. And we've done it by doing more video content, by creating the podcast, by doing things that probably are unique to me because, as I like to tell people, I know a little about a lot. So I'm not a great video editor, but I can get us by. I'm not a great podcast host, but I'm enough to get us by. Mm-hmm. And to be able to do what we've done with the small team and small amount of resources, I think has been great for Kistler O'Brien because, to your point, is like it fit in because we didn't really have a big budget. It wasn't an established marketing department. So to be able to do it with one person at one point to maybe 3 people if we were fully stacked team is I think kind of been the nice thing for me to be able to try different things, but nice for Kistler O'Brien because I've been able to plug a lot of those holes and desires as the company has grown and evolved over my 5 years being there.
Yeah.
How much have you guys grown since you've been there in 5 years?
I was employee number 175 actively in May of 2020, and I believe we're at like 224 right now, with more in the pipeline for orientations to come. So through the Great Resignation, right, of people leaving, changing jobs more than they changed their underwear, like that was not just backfilling those positions, but opening new positions, and we've grown, and we've opened new offices. We've outgrown both of our satellite offices. We've opened new ones, and we're about to open a new headquarters just a few miles away from our current one in the Lehigh Valley because we don't have enough space for all of our employees. Yeah. When they went home for the pandemic, it was hard to bring them back because the growth that we experienced during that, we don't have enough desk space for them.
We're in the same boat.
Yep.
Same thing.
Yeah. So
same exact thing.
When you make, like, you talk about the transition in marketing, right, from your name on a pen to this, Kistler O'Brien's been around since the 30s. We're not long after that, but it's when you have these older companies, you tend to have employees who've been here for a long time. And I'm just curious to see if you experience some of the things that we experience with the podcast, and it's just that people just don't get it. They don't get this kind of marketing. They don't understand why we do it, or why we're posting on social media, or where it is a different kind of marketing, and I get a lot of pushback from, why are you guys doing a podcast? Yes. Who's going to listen to your podcast? I'm like, well, just because you don't doesn't mean you got to poo-poo on it. Sure. You know what I mean?
How much money is that making the company?
Yeah, you get a lot of that stuff. And look, if it was
a lot,
and if it was, there's a reason we're doing it. So I'm just curious because the companies are very similar in that aspect. If you get a lot of that.
I think marketing, I'll just take it generally, not just from fire protection, is one of the hardest industries to work in because everybody sees what you do and everyone has opinion on it. Mm-hmm. Especially now that it's so easy to create content, it's at your fingertips. So the guy that's been here 40 years that doesn't understand the new media will also say, well, why aren't you on TikTok? My niece can do this. Yeah. And then you get the people that just don't like new media. Why are you doing the podcast? What's the ROI? But then you also get the people who are like, well, why don't we have a billboard on, 95?
It's a great question. And why don't we have a fire away billboard on 695? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think we all get those that work in marketing. I would say that we at Kistler O'Brien, I would say we're not immune to the fact that we have been helped, just like you guys have in today's world, that the Fireline name and the Kistler O'Brien name carries a lot. And the brand recognition that was grown over the years, mainly without marketing, especially at KOB, was built just on good service. And people know it as a good employer in the Lehigh Valley. They know it as a good company to do business with. That certainly helps. And so when you want to start a podcast or you want to do other things and you say Kistler O'Brien, people usually have some connection to that organization, whether it's their uncle gets their extinguishers done there or their cousin worked for KOB for 8 years or whatever. Or, oh, you guys donate to our firehouse, open house every year.
I like the way the Lehigh Valley comes out. Like that sounds like it's a cool place, right? Can we call it like the Be More Valley?
The Be More
Can
Valley.
we change it?
The Lehigh Valley is such a unique place, though. I
Just
mean,
the way it sounds.
I think, well, there's the Delaware Valley. That's closer here, right? That's more in the greater
Yep.
Philadelphia area. The Lehigh Valley is so unique that, there's Allentown, Bethlehem East, and 3 of the top 10 or 12 most populous cities in Pennsylvania are all within 30 minutes of each other. Traffic, depending there. So it's so unique, and we don't really have public transportation that much, so you got to drive everywhere. So getting to those 3 cities, you're more interconnected than if you were in one big city like Philadelphia or Baltimore. So I'll say Lehigh Valley a lot, but I could specify.
No,
It's just
I
crazy
like
that-
it. It just sounds
What's
cool.
funny
to me.
when you
I
bring
mean,
that up, because I never thought about it till now, but like pretty much every area in PA has a valley. Like I live in the Susquehanna Valley,
Yeah.
So
Okay.
they're everywhere.
Townships and valleys, right?
No, now you're getting townships and boroughs and stuff.
Municipalities,
Like that.
the village. There's like a village
yeah,
of
Yeah.
within the borough,
I'd
within
rather
the
be
township.
talking about cycling. Hey, going back to what you were saying, like,
Sure.
about the generation changing, but I don't know if you guys heard, but in one of the boot camp classes, which is, so we do boot camps here with apprentices, and it's a younger generation most of the time. The podcast gets brought up, and you got these 19, 20-year kids who go, hey, you got a podcast? That's cool. That's who we're going after, right? That's who this market is for. It's not, I mean, it's for everybody, but that's who it tends to get, is that younger generation. And if you get some 19, 20-year-old new technicians who think the podcast is cool, I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
You know
To
what I
me,
mean?
I think the content you're putting out there, right? And is it going to develop business? I don't know. It's hard to measure a lot of things in marketing. It's definitely hard to measure a podcast, especially if you don't have all the bells and whistles of advertising dollars and certain, call to actions within your podcast to know that this customer came in from the podcast to this, right? I think what the content that you're putting out there, what I tell a lot of businesses is you're just building your digital storefront so that a potential applicant or a potential new customer is searching Fireline. Your YouTube channel is coming up, your Spotify feed is coming up, and they're going to see that. They're going to look at it, and that might resonate with them. The 19, 20-year-olds is like, I'm not working for this stodgy old company. Yeah, they've been around since the 40s, but look at your campus. Look at your office spaces. Look at their podcast. Look at their swag. I mean, this is a new age, forward-thinking company with deep old school roots. And that's that perfect blend that, the few hours that I've spent here and the time we've talked off air, I think is more evident than has been with any other company that I've seen in the fire protection industry. And I think that's why you're a perfect partner to join the Encore team along with KOB and be leaders in that culture and engagement that they're looking to strive and mold, and they've already done. So to your point, to me, that's the pushback. If you're going to get pushback is, listen, we're putting content out there because it's going to resonate in a variety of different ways. And like you said, it might not be the customer, it might not be the ROI that the powers to be are looking for, but if they can understand that you're putting out good stuff, that when they search Fireline, they might find that story or find that episode that is cool to them, that could change between them applying here or applying to a competitor's work.
And what's kind of wild is, like, we've taken 2 different approaches to the podcast. You took the approach of the podcast as the marketing tool to try and drum up business and get people excited about Kistler O'Brien and what you got going on here. We took it as the customer service piece, right? To get people more involved in what's going on around here, get a little more employee engagement, the employee spotlight, what do we have working here as an internal piece to promote within side. Now, we've also learned over the 2 years almost we've done here that there is a lot of value outside too, right? So it is kind of cool to have you come on here and talk about a different application that the podcast can generate, you know what I mean, and what we're trying to do, what you guys are trying to do, because it does go hand in hand. But I think that's why what we're doing here was, in that different direction than what you got going on. So the whole ROI and all that stuff, not so much in the monetary value on outside of the external customer that's out there we're trying to bring in. It's more of a return on investment on what we have in-house here, you know what I mean, and building that rapport here, and then that worked its way outside, right? That's when we start getting the kids excited and people coming in and start talking more about it. And then it's going to, organically work its way outside, and then do the same thing that you got going on here, which you're trying to create an environment where people can come, learn about what's going on here at Fireline, what makes us great, what makes Kistler O'Brien great, Encore great. It just goes a long way. So I think us doing what we're doing between Kistler O'Brien and us in these podcasts is something that I think is going to continue to grow. I can see this happening more throughout the Encore family, and not less.
Yeah,
I think people are going to take from this.
Totally. And I love what you guys have done, taking the more employee kind of spotlight and engagement and the fire away at your, your colleagues, and let's talk and learn more about them. I would love to go down that pathway a little bit too on some of our episodes if I could get more employees to agree to come on, right?
And that's the problem we have.
Yeah.
We try, especially technician-wise, it's like pulling teeth to get technicians in here sometimes.
And they are your most knowledgeable and best stories
they have. Right? The field stories and all that stuff.
The things that they can tell you are tremendous, and you can't replicate that with somebody that is not in those roles. And so for me, it has been more business focused. But I'll tell you the publicity that we've gotten from that I hear from those that go to represent Kistler O'Brien at industry events is, they say, we always know what's going on at KOB. Your social media is always going. Your podcasts are telling great stories. And I've made connections and have introduced Kistler O'Brien to new people in the industry by inviting them to come on the podcast. And I think allow them to tell their stories, educate our viewers and listeners on different trending topics and stuff like that, while also connecting KOB to more folks in the industry has allowed me to be able to produce these episodes, but allowed Kistler O'Brien to be positioned as one of the thought leaders in the industry. And you guys are doing much of the same with what you're doing, just with, different guests.
Yep.
How do you go about finding those guests?
Creeping on the internet. It's honestly, I have asked our sales folks, who have we dealt with? Do we have, representation with some of our great manufacturer partners, and trying to leverage those relationships. But oftentimes it's just being active on LinkedIn, saying, hey, here's this person. They're the industry relations manager, or they're the subject matter expert for this company. Can I go and let's have that conversation? I think people are very open to coming on the podcast. Like you said, there's folks that don't believe in it, don't know it, but there's a lot of folks that are cognizant of podcasts and think it's very cool to be asked to be on a podcast because you're positioning them as a thought leader, as a knowledgeable individual. So to have them come on, especially if you can do it as simple as Zoom, I say it takes no more than 30 minutes of your time. Like, you can go give that, dedication, and it's worked out for me. But it's not easy. I mean, I tried to go very strong in the beginning and do like one episode per month, and that was fine. And then it got harder, and then you have to, record them and edit them and still try to do it with your other job. And, I have it a little bit easier because I do marketing, so it's kind of part of my job. You guys have operational things you need to worry about. Yeah. If I didn't go to work tomorrow, we could still operate. But if you guys didn't, then there would be issues, obviously, within your ops thing. So to my point is just, I started losing sleep because I was like, wow, this is hard to do one episode per month, every month. So then we just started to do it more casually every 6 months or 6 weeks or so, to put out, some better content, to just have the quality over the quantity. Because then your easy, low-hanging fruit guests have also been used by that point as well. Yeah. So, but you guys have a strong employee base here that's growing. Now that you're part of the Encore team, there's over 2,000 employees on the Encore team. So if you continue on your trajectory here, as your main thing of telling the great stories of employees, now you have a bigger pool to pick from now, being part of Encore.
Yeah, and that's like you were saying, the low hanging fruit. Like, we've had repeat guests on it, and not that it was bad; they were bad podcasts. But when you're trying to get listeners or just engage, and you're like, I like to keep it fresh. We had a meeting before this year. It was like, all right, what are we going to do this year to make it different? And you're a perfect example, right? Reach out to leaders in the industry and people who are going to be excited to be on the podcast and who are knowledgeable about what we're trying to do, and obviously interesting. So it's we're going to try to take that way a little bit, and we're not going to get away from the employee spotlight. But like you said, we got a bigger thing to tap into, and just kind of go ahead and just switch it up a little bit if we can. But it's definitely tough doing the bi-weekly podcast and to get it out in time. Kelly does most of the hard work. So shout out to Kelly. But yeah, it's honestly like him and I talk. He he works. I don't say works for me, but you do. He kind of works for me, and we have the we
I'm
do
your
have,
boss.
You weren't going to not agree with that, Kelly. If you can't say I don't.
I mean, he
work for you,
does.
at
So,
least not
so
right
he
now.
does, but it's an honest conversation. Like,
Yeah.
hey, I know you need time to work on the podcast, but we also got to make sure all the other stuff we need to get done is done. So yeah, it's a certain a balance that we try to do for it, but it's
So why are you by yourself? Nobody help? Nobody can help or will help or what?
So, I mean, the marketing team right now at Kistler O'Brien is 2 individuals. The other individual works for me, and we are, a great team, but we also divide and conquer. She does a lot of like our internal communications and engagement with our employees. We have a company intranet, which is a website just for them to go on and look at news and stuff. We have video board, messaging boards like you guys here, so she's working on that content, working closely with our HR department on communications around orientation and engagement and things like that. So I've kind of mainly taken on the reins of the external marketing, and the podcast falls in that. Also, frankly, just, the hybrid roles that we're in. So me and her, we usually work opposite schedules. So for her and I to be in the office at the same time is not that common of occurrence. So if I'm shooting something in person, she's often not there because that's her days to be at home, and I don't want to infringe on that.
Yep.
And then if it's online, well, then it's online. I don't really need another producer to be there. And there have been a good chunk of time since I've been the manager that I have also been the only person of the department, so I get to manage myself and give myself a great review. But that is that's the reason why. I mean, I'm not trying to be a lone wolf on this, but it's just kind of happened that way over the years.
Yeah, we're lucky that it's 3 of us for sure because like you said, the schedule's not matching up and things happen, in the operation.
3 of us.
Yeah. What's that?
3 of us?
Well, people that pretty much we
sorry.
can't do
Real
any.
quickly under the bus.
I'm sorry, buddy.
Well, you were correct. We cannot do any of these.
Do you have a beeping truck on your soundboard there? that just backed up over you? Like anything? No, we don't have that on the soundboard yet. It's all right.
But you're right.
There's only 3 of us here anyway.
Sorry. Yeah. We cannot do any of these without Kelly. But as long as Kelly and one other person is there, we've been able to knock them out.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's happened like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're able to divide and conquer for sure.
So I just think what's unique about you guys, and I obviously haven't listened to your entire catalog of episodes. You put out a lot of great content.
Unacceptable.
Is I apologize, I didn't get my homework done for today. Is just the great story that you guys could tell with Fireline. I mean, you do that tremendously, and I just think that I'm glad that you guys have a podcast. To be honest with you, there's not tons in the fire and life safety space, and I just think that what you guys have, being at Kistler O'Brien for 5 years and not being an industry insider prior to joining Kistler O'Brien, I became familiar with Fireline, right? But now getting more and more in depth with you since you've joined the Encore team is you guys have such a tremendous story to tell. And I'm glad that you have a podcast. And I think that just lends itself to be able to have 3 great hosts, a great producer, to be able to help tell that is I think a luxury that you have.
You ain't wrong.
Nope. No, but so if you listen to Anna's most recent podcast, she goes into a little bit of the history of our. So those are great to sit there and listen. And the times that we've had the people that have been here for 30 plus years, you get that history lesson of Fireline, and it's really neat for the people who haven't been here that long to see, hey, the changes that have been made or hear about the changes that have been made. And I think for a new employee, when you find out that there's someone who's been here that long, it makes you, it's a good feeling. That, hey, there can be some stability here because, is someone going to be here 40 years? If they hated it or it was a bad place to be, then no. So.
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I love hearing the stories too. I like hearing Frank
sure.
and Cindy them talk and then tell the stories about, and they know things that Anna doesn't know. You know what I mean? They were around when her grandfather had it or her father had it for the most part. I think some of them were here towards the very end of her grandfather, but it's incredible to be able to hear those stories.
To be fair,
and where we've come from, yeah.
To be fair, I know a lot of stories that happen that Anna probably doesn't know. You know what I mean? That's the whole point is to not let the boss find out.
That's right, 100%. I get it. Not those kind of stories, Mark. Anyway, but no, they're fun to tell and they're fun to be a part of. And like I said, the history is fantastic. But getting the word out there, right? So, I mean, we're all 4. Here we go. I'll let you out too, Kelly. I'm sorry. You're like disappearing.
Hey, I could use a producer. If you want to feel more respected and appreciated, you let me know.
He'll include you every time.
Yes.
Yeah, all the time. But no, it's fun. I mean, we get paid to do this, to have fun, to put something out there. And I mean, it's valuable content. It's stuff that's going out there. But, You know what I mean? To be in an environment where you're able to do that is just we're rewarding. It's a lot of fun. We really enjoy it.
Yeah, and I think the Encore culture, also fits into that, right? And I think that's why Kistler O'Brien partnered with Encore. That's why Fireline has joined the team as well. Is just that
it's a great match.
There's huge alignment there, and it's not that, and that's why we've been involved with Encore now for 18 plus months. You guys more in the infancy. It's like there haven't been any huge culture shocks or changes because we were all rowing in the same direction prior to the partnership. And for Kistler O'Brien, I mean, this has only just elevated the company. The amount of vehicles that we've been able to give our technicians that we didn't have, the newer ones, the better uniform qualities and things like that, better benefits and policies and new office spaces is because it's because we're powered by Encore. You guys are going to experience much of the same when you move over. And
they're big on too. Like, we're not here to disrupt the culture you have created. So it's going to be different no matter what company you're coming from. Everybody's going to be a little different, but they're big on not disrupting what you've created. So.
They wanted to partner with Fireline. They wanted to partner with Kistler O'Brien because you are successful, not because you needed someone to come in and clean up your house.
Correct.
So why would they come in and tell you to do something different and change direction? They wouldn't have been interested in a partnership in the first place. So no, I have, like anybody, when you hear that news, I was like, I think my Apple Watch told me that my heart rate was going high. That I was like, whoa, like that was big news, right? To hear something that I wasn't expecting. But since then, I mean, it has been, they say equal or better, and they say that we're not coming in and changing everything like you just said, and they've held true to their word. I mean, they truly are a great group of people to work with, growing fast, but doing it in the right way and wanting to make positive change on the industry. And I think that ties back to the podcast. We wanted to make a positive change. You wanted to. And that's huge, I think. And I'm excited that you guys are part of Encore because, having I don't know, were we like frenemies before Kistler O'Brien and Fireline?
I don't believe
No, because
now there was an understanding like we kind of didn't venture up into you. You guys didn't come too far down to us. We kind of kept ourselves separate.
So we used to have a Lancaster branch.
Okay.
And then when we got rid of that branch, like our customers and stuff got folded up into Kistler.
Okay.
So
Lancaster's in the Susquehanna Valley.
Susquehanna
Was
Valley.
that off air? We were talking about that. I don't remember.
No, we were on air.
Okay.
we
about the valleys. Oh yeah, we
that's,
were the
that's
townships.
where
that's where I live.
Matt is. He's in Susquehanna Valley.
Gotcha. So
Lancaster.
Here we go.
Lancaster.
Actually,
Anyway, there's all kinds of stuff. We jump
so,
into the Amish stuff and how you pronounce things all the time.
Understood. Yeah. No, but I honestly didn't know that because I knew of Fireline, right? And I think we were always kind of like, I guess, neighbors, not frenemies in that sense, right? But like, I think we were both kind of looking over the fence at each other going like, how are you guys doing? Almost kind of like, not like a vicious competitor, but just trying to keep pace with what's going on,
for sure.
Is how green is their grass? Not that we want to jump ship to the other side, but if they're doing this, why can't we do that and maybe even a little bit better? So now it's like, when you look at it from the Encore perspective, is like, as I like to say before you guys joined the team, is Kistler O'Brien was the southern front of Encore. And now you guys have joined that and brought us even further south. So it's like to have us together on one team to kind of navigate this southern front that we have here, in the mid-Atlantic is just, I think it's probably making waves in the industry more than I even recognize or realize.
Oh yeah, it's so beneficial to have resources in the industry because the industry, it's not a huge industry, right? It's a very niche industry what we're in, and when we're talking about Pennsylvania, which is a service area of ours in certain parts, we have a friendship, a partnership now where we can reach out and say, hey, or resources up there, and it's such a good feeling because sometimes you do feel trapped, like if we need something. I know you guys have already helped us out with parts and distributors and things like that, and reaching out to other Encore partners and things like that we've never had in the past. So even though Fireline was a larger company, to have backup where we never, I know I never felt like we needed it. Does that make sense? Like we're good, we don't need anything. We were Fireline, and then when you get that, it's oh man, it does make a difference.
Yeah, to me, it's like a network, right? Like it's strength in numbers is what you say. And you guys had the numbers here on your own property and your other location. So you didn't felt like you needed that lift, but having that network to rely on when needed, like makes things, more efficient, more enhanced, whether that's better pricing, better processes, better connections to make things happen faster is stuff that you didn't think you needed, but they're nice to have. I'll tell you that. Yeah. And that elevates everybody within the organization. So no, I'm glad that you guys guys are here. I'm glad that we have another podcast in the Encore, family. Now, like, should we be competing with each other as podcasts? Or
I think we need to do this more, man. I still want to get up to your place and do your podcast.
Yeah.
Well. I mean, I know this is going to be a joint podcast, but
Yeah, no, happy to have you guys up, and we can chat and we can talk there too. It's going to be an exciting 2025 for Kistler O'Brien. I mentioned earlier we're going to be moving to new headquarters in Allentown, in May. Behind the scenes, we've made a lot of great improvements for our employees as far as policies and procedures. We are moving to a new operations platform at the end of this month, which is I think, going to be better for both our operational in-office staff as well as our technicians, as well as our customers, because I think what they're going to get as far as their capabilities for some better billing and just experience from that side is going to be huge. And then turning around to just be able to have you guys in the mix, and who knows what else is to come. I mean, that's just something that's happened in the first 3.5 months of the year. So I'm super excited for 2025 for Kistler O'Brien, for Fireline to be joining the team. I mean, I think that was a huge milestone for Encore, and it's a huge milestone for us as well to be able to say, kind of sad that we're no longer the biggest brother in the family, right? That you guys took that, but we're happy, I think, to give up that mantle to have somebody, of your caliber on the team.
Yeah, well, look, man, we're excited too, and congratulations to you. I know you said you're going to be going into, a little bit of a bigger role. So
maybe that means I'll be down here more. I can hang out more.
For sure. But once you guys get settled up there, maybe summer, early fall, man, we'd love to come up and check out the new.
Yeah,
facility.
let me.
Did they incorporate a studio for you or what?
Yeah, I don't know about that. That's a good question. I put in a lot of requests. I was hoping to, maybe get a nicer office, right? I like to always say I have an open door policy because I don't have a door. So, I'll rank them and we'll see which ones we get. So I'll let you guys know what can come of that. But no, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be much needed for the company. But for our customers that are listening, we're only going 2 miles away. So don't be alarmed for walk-in service or anything like that. It's still the great local service, and we're right nearby. And it's still a great starting point for a lot of our technicians. We're right in the center of the Lehigh Valley, and we're still able to get to a lot of customers around the area. See, you like how you tie those jokes back? That's good podcasting. I hope you're taking notes.
We are, yeah. I love a good callback, man.
His notepad's empty, so I just wanted to call that out.
That's all for
okay, yeah.
That's all for show.
No, but listen, guys, this has been awesome. I can't. I feel like I'm talking probably longer than the episode's supposed to be.
You're great at it, man.
So I apologize on that, but no, we could go on forever about different things. I've honestly been in awe today of what you guys have down here. Not that I had low expectations. I don't think I knew what to expect.
I was about to ask that
to
question.
Be honest, no. And I feel
I'm glad how you wrapped that up pretty quickly.
I wanted to clarify that because when I came in here and I was like, we got 4 buildings here. We got this great flow. We got great, just your places, how you set it up, the things you've thought through, the people you have on staff, the workspaces you have for people to allow for the colleagues to collaborate and ideate and go out. And I'm a big believer of, like, you got to have this great office space, right? And we talk about the pandemic and people working hybrid and in the office and stuff. It's like, I love working from home because I can get 10 times more, and the office drains me. Like, just being in there drains me. But what we're missing is the environment that you have, and we're going to get that very soon, and I'm super excited about that.
Yep.
But the environment we have now, to me personally, doesn't make me super productive. So, like, just walking through your buildings today, your team, I hope they realize just like how awesome that is that they have that, the great working spaces that you have, the cool activities you guys are putting on. We were talking, pre going on air here today about all the exciting things you have coming up here. Kind of fun employee activities. I heard about, a holiday kind of luncheon the other day as well. And there's still some remnants. That's a sign of a good party where there's still a little bit left over.
I offered you a cupcake, but you turned it down.
Yeah, well, listen, as I said before, I'm trying to go from 3 chins to 2 chins, so it wasn't anything personally. It's just it wasn't part of my weight loss journey. But yeah, no, I can't rave enough about what you guys have here. And if it was like 45 minutes closer, I would make this my office to come work out every day. You'd find a spot for me, even if the construction on whatever that is, 895.
We'll make a spot on the podcast.
The Beltway.
Now we're looking forward to coming down and checking out your new gig up there and see how that flows for you.
Yeah. My door's always open.
Yeah, there you go. Another callback. He's nailing it, man.
Tell you what, this guy, he's
Hey,
gold.
so
Gold, I tell
if you listened before, when we wrap up all the podcasts, we like to ask our guests the same question. Obviously, you're not a fire line employee, but you're in the fire protection industry for Kistler O'Brien. So the question would be to you is, what would Tyler now, 5 years in, say to Tyler day one coming into the doors at Kistler O'Brien?
I would tell him to get out in the field. And you're going to learn so much more climbing into that van and that truck and going out on the job site. And unfortunately, Tyler 5 years ago was behind an 8-ball because customers didn't allow extra guests and visitors on their sites for quite a while.
Yeah.
And so it really wasn't until like 2020, like mid 21, that I could even go out there without needing a COVID test and, and show your vaccine card and all those types of things. And that's even if they even allowed that, right? Others were completely exclusive. So 5 years ago, I probably should have pushed more on that, though, and tried to jump through those hoops, take those extra safety precautions just to go out there, to capture that content, to capture the knowledge, to learn and soak in what our technicians see from the front lines of the field, what our customers are experiencing dealing with Kistler O'Brien employees. Because as somebody that I think helps shape the customer experience for Kistler O'Brien, helps market, helps be the voice of Kistler O'Brien. If you call our 1-800 number now, you're gonna hear my voice in the auto attendant that you gotta listen to.
I can't think of another voice I'd rather hear.
Yeah, makes a lot of people hang up probably, but those that do listen through, it's me. And I wish I had that more knowledge early on instead of learning that 2.5 years later. So I feel like a lot of people that join the industry that don't know it should take that on right away. And I'm probably going to go back out here pretty soon and just really hit the pavement and try to do that at different companies like today. I mean, coming here today was part of that journey, really step one, to just get exposed to how different operations are and how people, things view that. We talked about that of where does suppression fall into what division and what department. And I'm just, to you, that was just another conversation. To me, that was a learning point and just trying to pick up all these nuggets. So that would be my answer.
Well, that's great, man. Thank you again for coming down.
Yes,
Before we wrap this up, can you tell our listeners where they can find your podcast?
Sure. Yeah, I appreciate that. So the KOB Podcast, Kistler O'Brien Podcast, is available Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Also have a video version on YouTube. That's probably our most popular channel. But we also do have those audio-only versions for when you're driving in the car, getting thrown under the bus, like your producer. Any which way, if you're listening to them, you could check that out as well. We put our episodes out, not as regularly as this crew, but we do have some good guests, both from KOB as well as from the industry at large.
And then for our listeners, we are recording this one, videoing. So if everything turned out all right, when you listen to this, you can go to YouTube and watch this episode.
Yep. And then where are you guys at on social media?
Yeah, so we're at Kistler O'Brien we're KOB Fire Protection on a lot of places. We're on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram. We're not on TikTok yet. I'm not a great dancer, but we are on those other 4 major socials, and we do produce content regularly. LinkedIn's our top one. We're a B2B platform, or they're a B2B platform. We're a B2B business. Makes sense. So yeah, please check us out there. We'll probably do some cross promotion with you guys. I know you're active on the socials as well. So Not just your podcast feed, but your corporate feed as well. So yeah, you guys can check us out there on social media. We're trying to tell the story of Kistler O'Brien and what we're doing up there on those channels. So you can check that out there.
Yeah, well, thanks again, Tyler, for jumping on here and making us all sound bad because you're a professional at this. But yeah, check us out on social media, Fire_Way Podcast on Instagram. Catch up all episodes anywhere you get your podcast.
Yeah. Gentlemen, thanks a lot.
Thanks
for having me.
Thanks a lot.
Have a good one.
We'll talk to you next time.